Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me for this episode of AADL TV. Today, we're going to be talking about Ancestry Library Edition. This is a resource that's available for genealogical use to Ann Arbor District Library card holders. And today, what I'm going to be talking about is how you can use Ancestry Library Edition for your genealogical resource. And I'm going to combine it with the discussion of how to use an Ancestry account that you would set up for yourself, a free account that you would set up for yourself to set up a family tree. And then you can use that family tree in conjunction with using Ancestry Library Edition through the Ann Arbor District Library. Usually for Ancestry Library Edition, you have to be at the library to use it. And when you're at the library, then you can access it on your own laptop or other device. You can access it on a library computer. And you don't have to have a library card as long as you are at the library and connected to the library Wi-Fi network. Currently, however, during the pandemic, as a courtesy, you don't have to be at the library, so you don't have to leave your home. You can access this from home, but you do need to have a library card to access this through the Ann Arbor District Library. ProQuest and Ancestry are the partners that are making the Ancestry Library Edition available to us. And as a courtesy during the pandemic, they're allowing us as users to use this from home so that we don't have to go into the library. So many libraries have been closed periodically through the pandemic, and people really shouldn't be going out any more than they need to. So this is just a courtesy for us. So right now you can use Ancestry Library Edition from home, which is really fantastic. Right now, it's going to be available for you to use at home through March 31st of 2021. And periodically throughout the pandemic, ProQuest and Ancestry, again, the producers of this database, have been reevaluating. They started out saying, I think they were going to make it available through like June 30th of 2020, and then they extended through September or whatever. But they do keep reevaluating to see if there's a need for people to be able to use this from home. So it's really a great resource from now. And when the pandemic ends, you, which will be such great news, but then you will have to go into the library to use it, but it will still be a resource that will be available to you for your genealogical research. And this really is quite a valuable resource. Here is just a screenshot of what a subscription costs to have your own subscription to Ancestry. Costs anywhere from $99 for the basic US only record database, that would be for a 6-month membership, to $200 basically for the full membership to Ancestry. And again, that's the 6-month membership. So this is a really nice benefit for Ann Arbor District Library patrons. The Ancestry Library Edition has most of what a paid subscription to Ancestry has, but there are some databases that aren't included in the Ancestry Library Edition, and there are some things that you're not able to do. But by and large, it's an amazing database. It has a wealth of information. It's fantastic for anybody who wants to dive into genealogy or do a little digging on their family tree. So how you would access this from home is you would log in to the Ann Arbor District Library, aadl.org, and then you would sign in to your library account. And once you've signed in, you'll go down to the bottom and you'll click on Databases. And from there, you'll click on Genealogy under the database headings. And then lastly, you'll click on Ancestry Library Edition. And you can see the notice here about how currently it's available for Ann Arbor District Library patrons to use at home, courtesy of ProQuest and Ancestry. I'd like to give you an overview of the top menu when you reach the home screen of Ancestry Library Edition. This is where you can access a lot of really cool features about Ancestry Library Edition. So this is the home page, and if we go to the search tab at the top, you can search by a specific category. If you only want to look at military records, you can look only at military records. You could look at the card catalog, which the card catalog would give you all the different categories of record databases that Ancestry Library Edition has, or you can simply go to the top and search all categories. Next to that at the top, we have message boards. Message boards is where you can look perhaps for people that are researching your family surname or people from your geographic area, or maybe you just want to look at a message board for a particular topic, a particular genealogy topic. Like, again, maybe the military, maybe you're searching for military records, and there is a military message board that you could go to find information on that. Next to that, we have the Learning Center. This is a really great resource. This is just a snapshot that's not limited to these 3 resources, but there's a Getting Started resource if you are new to genealogy and aren't sure where to begin. There is a resource for learning about census records, how to use census records, etc. So the Learning Center is really a valuable place for you to go as a genealogist. Charts and Forms is great. You can download genealogy charts for your own use. And new collections can be really of interest as well. This lets you know what record databases Ancestry Library Edition has recently added into their collection. And so, for example, if you were researching in Michigan 6 months ago, and now you're back into Ancestry Library Edition, you might want to just scan to see if any Michigan records have been added in the last several months since you last did your research. Records are constantly being added to the Ancestry Library Edition database. Searching is probably where you'll have the most fun, and that's where a lot of people just go to, is just to the search. That's where you can search for records on a particular person, and you can do many other things as well. And you can access that either by clicking search in the upper menu bar, or you can click on begin searching, and either one takes you to the same place. And just to give you an overview of the records that Ancestry has, and this is just a summary. For starters, they have all of the U.S. Census records. The U.S. Census, the first census was in 1790, and the last one that has been released to the public was in 1940, and all of these have been digitized and are on Ancestry Library Edition and available for you to search. And then you can see over on the left-hand side just all the different databases there are where Ancestry has collected information that might contain information about your ancestors, newspapers, city directories, etc. I'm going to jump for a moment. I'm going to jump away from Ancestry Library Edition for a moment and talk about family tree software, because I find it's really helpful to use Ancestry Library Edition in conjunction with having a family tree at my fingertips so I can know what do I want to work on, what information am I missing. I'm going to give you some examples of free family tree software. You could use Roots Magic Essentials, Legacy Family Tree Standard Edition, Ancestral Quest Basics, Gramps. Those are all free family tree software packages that you could download to your computer. And there are also some free online family tree programs, which is more cloud-based, and that would include Ancestry, and we're going to use that today as our example. So we're going to be using an Ancestry account in conjunction with using Ancestry Library Edition. Family Search also has a free online family tree program, as well as MyHeritage and Find My Past. So those are just examples. If you Google free online family tree programs or free family tree software, you'll come up with many other options that you could utilize to build your family tree. So again, separate from Ancestry Library Edition, to have a family tree at my fingertips when I'm researching, I can set up a family tree in an Ancestry account that I set up for myself. And it can be a free account. So I'm going to set up my own account, and I'm going to create and manage tree. I'm going to go and click on trees in Ancestry. And again, this is my personal free account. I'm going to click on trees, and I'm going to click create and manage trees. And I'm going to create a new tree today. We're going to see how we would go about building a family tree with Ancestry Library Edition. So I'm going to start a new tree. And for today, who we're going to use as an example is Alex Trebek, the late great host of Jeopardy! And so I like to start my research for just about anybody just by doing a very simple Google search of Alex Trebek obituary. And this could be whoever your ancestor is, whoever you are searching for. You can just do a search like this, and you can then get some basic information that we can put into our search fields. So I'm going to start by gathering some basic information. And here's the obituary for Alex Trebek. And so here I have his birth year, and I have his death, year, and I also have a specific date for when Alex Trebek passed away. This obituary online that I found through the Google search also tells me that he was born in Canada, that he moved to the United States in 1973, and that he's a naturalized U.S. citizen. So he became a citizen of the U.S. in 1998. Now, naturalization papers can be a wealth of information for your ancestors. For Alex Trebek, not so much, because he was naturalized so recently that these records would not be public information due to privacy because it's so recent. So now I'm going to go back to my personal free account just to start a family tree, just so I can start having a framework for what do I want to use Ancestry Library Edition for. And so I'm going to put in the very basic information. I'm going to put in Alex Trebek and his birth date or birth year at any rate, and his specific birth date. And then again, in my free account where I'm setting up my family tree, I have to add in one more person before Ancestry will let me save the tree. So I'm just going to add in his father, and I'm just going to put in just a surname of Trebek. I don't know what Alex's father's first name was, and I don't know anything about him, but just to move me forward and let me save the family tree, I'm going to put in his father's last name. And now I can save my family tree for Alex Trebek. So now I'm going to go back to Ancestry Library Edition, and let's start seeing, well, how can I use Ancestry Library Edition to start building a family tree? So I'm going to click on Begin Searching, and I'm going to put in that I want to search for Alex Trebek. I want to see what records are there for Alex Trebek that I might be able to add to this family tree that I want to create. I can click on Show More Options, and I can put in more parameters than just the very few parameters that are listed on this page. So if I let it know that I want to put in more parameters, I come to this page and I can put in more information then about Alex Trebek. I can put in a death date. Also, I can set ranges for the criteria that I'm putting in. So, for example, for the birth year of 1940, I might want to put in, okay, it's any Alex Trebeks that were born, give or take a year. And sometimes it can be really important because especially with the census, they were asking for the ages of people and then estimating when they were, what year they were born. So it's not the other way. They were asking for age and then extrapolating what year they were born. So they could very easily be off by a year or more. So now we have our search parameters that we can adjust. And I would also mention that even for places, you can say how precise the results have to match. So you can say, I want to search, I'm searching for somebody in Michigan, but it could be contiguous states, or no, I only want it to be Michigan. So these are good tools to use to tweak your parameters. If you don't get what you want searching under a set of parameters, try again by tweaking them in this way. And so here's what we have. We have some results for Alex Trebek. We have some records that Ancestry says this might be a match for the person that you're looking for. If you hover over any one of these records, it will give you a summary of what this record is. So I'm hovering over this Ontario, Canada Catholic Church record, and it tells me it's a baptism record for J. George Alexander Trebek. And I can click on the record. If I click on the record, it says, here's the record, and I can actually then click on view, the view in the green box, and I will see the actual baptism record for Alex Trebek. So here's Alex Trebek's baptism record. And it tells when he was baptized and who his parents are. That it gives his mother's maiden name. It gives a lot of great information. And it's just also very cool to be able to look at an original record. This one is 80 years old. You find records on here that are hundreds of years old. So it's just very cool to be able to look at the record. So let's go back to our search results. And the top result is a family tree that somebody has put together for Alex Trebek. And so I think I might be interested in looking at that. So I can either click on the filter by over on the left-hand side and filter by family trees, or I can click to see more like this. And that will bring me to this screen. So if we look at the family trees that Ancestry Library Edition has deemed our matches for Alex Trebek. If we look closely, we'll see really only the top one as a good match for Alex Trebek. The others are names that kind of match, but not really. And the reason for that goes back to the earlier point about the search parameters and how specific I wanted to be with them. So I said that the first name was Alex, but I said that was broad. And so Ancestry has come up with some really broad matches. Now, perhaps that's a good thing, though, because the family tree that does appear to be a match for Alex Trebek says that his real name is Joseph George Alexander Trebek. So if I had said Alex Trebek and said that it had to match that exactly, I might not have gotten that hint. And I might want to look at that family tree. So let's look at that family tree. So here's the family tree that somebody else has built for Alex Trebek. And you can see that they have reflected the sources that they used for the information that they're including about Alex Trebek. So let's look at one of these records. Here's another Ontario, Canada Catholic Church record. Let's see what this record is. So I can click on this. So now I'm in somebody else's family tree within Ancestry Library Edition. And I'm going to look at that record, and it looks interesting. This is for confirmation. It says in the extract of what the information of this record is going to tell us. And so I want to view the image. And so I will look at that image. And so here is Alex confirmation record. And again, it gives his father's first name. It gives his mother's first and maiden name. So really great source of information. So you can see just how cool Ancestry Library Edition is. You can just find all sorts of really fantastic resources that are both enlightening about your family tree, but also just really interesting. If I go back to the family tree, again, that I pulled up in Ancestry Library Edition, somebody else created for Alex Trebek, I can view him in his tree. So if I click on that in the upper right, View and Tree, I come to this screen where it shows me what this person has built out as Alex Trebek's family tree. And it gives it out to his grandparents. It gives some of his great-grandparents, even on out further on his mother's line. You do want to check this because this is just what one person put together. And so you would want to check to make sure that this information is accurate. You don't want to just take it as fact. But this is a really cool jumpstart to us trying to create a tree for Alex Trebek. And so you can see how easy it would be for you to create a family tree for anybody, one of your ancestors or whoever you're researching. You can also view the family tree in one of two ways. This is the Pedigree View, and if you click in the upper left on the other icon, you would view it like this, where the oldest generation is at the top, and then you have the youngest generation at the bottom. So it's a generational tier of the group, and it will show children instead of just direct ancestors. It will show all children. So let's go back now. And now that we know that Alex's full name is George Alexander Trebek, or in fact, it appears it's even Joseph George Alexander Trebek, I can start playing around with how I want to enter the name. So maybe now I want to search on George Alexander Trebek and see if I get some different hits if I tweak the name. And so I do see some different records here. And so let's go down. Let's have a look at this Florida divorce record. That's for George Trebek. And I'm going to click again on the view because I want to see the actual record and not just an extract of the record. And so here we see, this is in 1958, and it's a divorce record in Florida for George Trebek and Lucille Trebek. So even though I thought I was searching on Alex, this is probably for Alex's father because Alex's father's name is also George, and we do know that his mother's name is Lucille. So this really is not a record for Alex. This is for Alex's father, but interesting information nonetheless if we were building out a family tree for Alex Trebek. I'm going to talk briefly about options for saving the records that you find on Ancestry Library Edition. So you're going to have all these fantastic records and information that you find, and what will you do with them? Do you have to scribble them all down with pen and paper? Well, you don't. There are any number of different ways that you can save these records so that you can refer to them later. You can send them to yourself via email. You can print them. You can save them to your computer. You can save them to a flash drive. And like we're doing today, you could incorporate the information into a family tree that you're working on. Down in the lower right of this record, you'll see an orange brown button that says Send Document. And this is how you can email the record to yourself. So if we click on that, it asks me to enter my email. And then it says Successful, we've sent you this record. And then I can pull up my email and it will say you made a new discovery at the Ann Arbor District Library. Even though during the pandemic, I wasn't actually at the library, I was using Ancestry Library Edition at home. But nonetheless, it's let me email this to my email. And then I can go in and I can look at the record that I sent to myself via email. You can also print the record. So there's a View Printer Friendly link that you can click on and you can print the record. And so you could either print a hard copy or you can also print to PDF if you have a PDF printer on your computer. When you're in the actual record, you can also send an image of that record home. And again, that would be emailing it, or you can save it to your computer as a JPEG file. So a lot of different options for being able to retain the information that you uncover. So you don't have to madly have pen and paper at the ready. You have a lot of options to keep this so that you can refer back to these records in the future. So now if we go back to the tree that we created in the personal Ancestry account that we set up, now we can add in some information for Alex Trebek. We've done some searching on Alex Trebek using Ancestry Library Edition. And if we go to our tree, Ancestry says, well, hey, we think we have 26 ancestry hints about Alex. And what they're saying is they are saying in your personal account for this free family tree that you created, Ancestry thinks that there are 26 pieces of information that you could find about Alex Trebek. So if you click on that link, it will take you to this. And people have added photos, et cetera, because he is such a very famous person. That's probably why he has 26 hints. Now, unfortunately, if you do try to click on one of these, you'll get a screen telling you to go any further, you have to actually subscribe to Ancestry. But you can see that you can get pretty far with a free personal account for your family tree. And so this is the screen that you would come to if you did actually try to pick up one of those records. So this is where you hit the limitations of not having your own subscription. And then notice too, though, in our family tree, in our free family tree, and again, this is a personal account that you set up, you can also take a look at who Ancestry thinks is the mother of Alex Trebek. And so if we click on that, we see that they say, hey, you could add in who we think is the mother. And they think his mother is Marie Rose Lucille Legace. And that is probably true because we did see her name listed as Lucille Legace. And so we could say yes and have that added to the family tree that we've started for Alex Trebek. So you can see how easy it is to use Ancestry Library Edition, what a wealth of resources Ancestry Library Edition has, and how you can also use it in conjunction with the family tree that you've already started. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoy all your new discoveries in Ancestry Library Edition.